So the next part in our quest to download Windows 11 onto an older laptop is to get a copy of the Windows 11 ISO. And to do that, just go into Google, type in Windows 11 ISO, and you'll come to the Windows 11 download page, the official one from Microsoft. Now, you've got two options for downloading the ISO image. First of all is this section here, which will just download the ISO straight away, or you've got this one here. And I use this one here about using the installation media because actually it's slightly quicker and the file is slightly smaller than this option here. Don't ask me why, it just is. So all we would do here is just click on download, and there you go. You can see that I've downloaded it multiple times, and we're gonna say yes, we want it to start working. And then we're just going to click on accept. And then I'm just going to accept those, use those options there. That's fine. And on this section here, you want to do the ISO file. We don't want to do the USB flash drive. We want to do the ISO file. And it will be obvious why we want to just do the ISO file in the next stage of the installation. But at this point, just trust me and select that. Right, I want it to store, this is where do you want it to save it to? I want it on my desktop so it's nice and obvious, I don't forget it. And it's just going to save it as Windows 11, Windows. Okay, so now the download is finished and it's just checking it and making sure that the download is a workable copy. Okay, so there we go. You can see that the download has completed and it's checked it out and it believes it to be okay. So if you just want to check just to make sure, for instance, I've got it on my desktop here. So that is absolutely fine. If we check the properties just to make sure that it is completed the download and it's an ISO file, and there we go. So the next stage is where we're going to download another piece of free and fantastic software that turns this ISO file into a bootable USB drive. And not only does it turn it into a standard bootable USB drive, but it turns it into a bootable USB drive for Windows 11 for an older laptop. Okay, so we have got the Windows 11 ISO file and we've got our old laptop. Now what we need to do is we need to download a piece of software called Rufus. It's totally free and it's safe. It's a great piece of software, and this converts that ISO file into a bootable system that goes onto a USB stick. So at this point, you do need your USB stick. You need at least 8 gigabytes of a USB stick that you only want to use for this, because when it creates this bootable Windows 11, it's going to wipe everything else off. And this is a really small piece of software, so it downloads in seconds. So as you can see, I typed into Google Rufus USB, and here we go. The download is just here. 3.2 is the latest version. And then you can see in the downloads, it appears up there. And here we go. So in the first section here, what you want to do is this needs to select your USB stick that you've put in. Okay. And then this section here, we want that ISO file. So we're going to go to the desktop and that Windows file, and we're going to select that. This image option, keep it as standard Windows installation, don't do Windows to go. And then this is the most important thing here, really. The MBR partition option here is for older laptops. Those are laptops which just use a standard BIOS to start up. Sorry, standard BIOS to start up. The other option for slightly newer laptops is GPT, which uses the UEFI startup system. But for this video, I'm going to do the MBR, and then everything else is you don't have to touch, and then you can just set it off on its way. As soon as you press start, this is where the magic happens, because what Rufus is doing here is it's making this installation so that it can go on an old laptop. It's basically providing some hacks so that Windows 11 can be put onto an old laptop. So make sure at least these two options, these top options, are selected, and I would also go for disable the data collection, which will just speed up the process a little bit more. And then when those 2 or 3 options are selected, just press OK. It will give you a warning to say that your USB stick will be completely wiped. And you can see on the screen at the bottom, there's a green progress bar, and at the moment it's just at 1%. So this will take about 15 to 20 minutes in my experience. And this is where it's applying the Windows customizations or those hacks that enable us to install Windows 11 on older laptops. And there we go. We now have a usable USB stick with Windows 11 on it. So the next stage is to put the stick into the laptop and then install Windows 11.
So here I'm back on the Latitude E6420. I've got my USB stick with Windows 11 on it, and I'm going to take you through loading Windows 11 onto the laptop. Just to say, this laptop, I've upgraded it, so instead of the 4 gigabytes of RAM which it came with when it was actually released way back in 2011, it's got 8 gigabytes of RAM, and instead of having a hard disk drive, a SATA hard disk drive, it's got a SATA solid state drive. So let's start it and see how well it loads Windows 11. Okay, so I'm going to get it to boot from the USB. Now, when I tried this earlier with, okay, let's do this first of all. So language, time and currency and keyboard all set to the United Kingdom, which is perfect for me. I'll just wait for some of this initial setup to, okay, I'm going to click on, I don't have a product key. I can deal with that later. We're going to install Windows 11 Home. Okay, I'm going to accept the Microsoft terms. And I'm going to install. Okay, I'm just going to pause this now while I get rid of these partitions. So here we go. I'm going to install it on that piece of space. So this is where the files are taken from the USB pen and they're transferred over onto the laptop. I'll just check that these files are transferring okay. So the first part of the installation, the files have been transferred okay, and we're just about to enter the restart, our first restart. as I was saying, when I did this earlier and I actually installed Windows 11 on this laptop when it had a SATA hard drive and only 4 gigabytes of RAM, the installation time took about 55 minutes.
To set up your device using a screen reader, turn on Narrator by pressing Windows and Control and Enter. For more accessibility features, press Windows and U, or select the accessibility icon in the bottom corner.
Okay, so I've turned the speech assistant off, the screen reader off, and we're going to we're setting it for the UK. And then I want a UK keyboard, and I don't want any other keyboard layout. So this is where it's going to connect to my home network, so I'm just going to pause this. So it seems to have connected to my Wi-Fi network nice and smoothly, which is great. Okay, so I'm quickly going to name this device. Okay, so it's shutting down and restarting. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly sign in. Okay, so it's adding my Microsoft account. Okay, so it recognises who I am and it wants to set this laptop up precisely to my needs. Okay, so I've just created a pin and now we move onwards. Okay, I'm going to skip this customization section. Okay, I only want to save files to this PC. I don't want to set up OneDrive at the moment. Okay, I'm not interested in the trial of Microsoft 365. And neither do I want their Game Pass. Okay, so we are reaching the final part of the installation. Okay, so there we go, on exactly 40 minutes it took to install Windows 11 on the Latitude E6420 with an SSD drive and 8 GB of RAM. That's a saving of 13 minutes when I had just a SATA hard drive installed and 4 GB of RAM. So just as the final part of this video, just need to plug a power lead into my phone to keep the battery running. The final part of the video is I'm going to shut it down and see how quickly it restarts. Okay, so I'm just waiting. There we go. Shut down completely. And now let me get my stopwatch on for the restart. When I installed this with the hard disk drive and the 4 GB of RAM, the restart was about 3 minutes 15 seconds. Okay, so that restart is a minute which is pretty impressive considering it was 3 minutes on the previous install. Okay, thank you for watching.